so much garlic, the best olive oil, and the most amazing Parmesan cheese is going to create the best flavors for my favorite pizza place food, which is garlic knots. Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, we're making the ultimate garlic knots. Now, I've made garlic knots here like 10 years ago, but I just felt like they needed a bit of an update. The recipe isn't that different. It is a little different. It's not that different, but I wanted to walk you through it all. We're gonna make the dough from scratch. It's so simple and easy, and they're just everyone's favorites. We love them so much. It's like the thing that I feel like most pizza places, most pizza shops gives them to you as like a little thing with your salad or whatever, but for us around here, they're the main event, and I want you to feel the same way about them because we're obsessed. Let me run you through the ingredients you'll need to make the dough, because the dough itself is so simple and easy. You'll need, it's very simple, 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. You'll need 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, and 1 1/4 cups of warm water, and a drizzle of olive oil. The recipe will be on laurainthekitchen.com, of course, but the recipe for the dough is so simple, and you can use this dough to make 2 small pizzas as well. So there's that. Okay, let's get started. In the bowl of a standing mixer, we are going to add your flour. You've got your salt. I'm gonna add my sugar, and I'm adding instant yeast. Now, because I'm adding instant yeast, my yeast doesn't need to proof, right? If you're not adding instant yeast and you're using active dry yeast, then you're gonna wanna add your yeast and your sugar to the warm water and let it bloom for about 5 to 6 minutes. But because this is instant, I don't need to do that. I'm gonna give everything just a gentle little stir, and I add it to the bowl of a standing mixer. Now, you can do the dough the day before and just let it slowly rise overnight in the fridge and make sure it comes to room temperature before you go ahead and form your garlic knots. So then to it, we're gonna add water, warm water, and a drizzle of olive oil, you know, just a little bit, like so, like that. Just a tiny bit. Beautiful. I'm gonna add, I'm gonna place, I should say, my dough hook attachment right in. Tilt that up and just let it go for a couple of minutes. It takes about 3 minutes on medium speed for your dough to kind of come together. It'll still be a tiny bit tacky, but you don't want it to be really sticky, nothing like that. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's there. That looks fantastic. It's slightly tacky, but it's not, it shouldn't be sticky or anything like that. And if it is, you can just give it a little dusting of flour. Now you're gonna place this in an oiled bowl, cover it, let it rise. Now, I'm impatient, I'm hungry, and in this household, I just feel like I sleep better at night when I know I've got dough in the fridge. I can turn it into knots, I can turn it into focaccia, I can turn it into pizza, I can turn it into whatever my heart desires the next day, which is what I did here. So I have one ready. I also have a large baking sheet next to me with some parchment paper. Look at this. I'm just gonna go ahead and flour my surface. And I'm gonna dump this down. I got a little bench scraper. Yes, I have my coffee next to me because I am a mom who works from home, and as I'm sure you all can understand and relate, that some days you just require to have a constant stream of caffeine. Okay, some days that's just what we do. Okay, your dough is just kind of flattening it out like that, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a pizza cutter, and then we're gonna start cutting and forming. Okay, so you cut your dough into strips. I use a pizza cutter, and now I'm gonna just demonstrate this as slow as possible. You really can't mess this up. You take each strip of dough, right? You can roll it around in some flour if it's just a tiny bit sticky. You lightly stretch it, and then you wrap it around your fingers. I wrap 3 times, and then I kind of do one of these, and it forms it into a knot. I'm gonna do it again. So 1 wrap, 2 wrap, 3 wraps, snap, take your end, and you form a knot like that, okay? I really like working fast when I make garlic knots because I just feel like it makes the job go faster, and it doesn't have to be perfect because at the end of the day, they will plump up and be beautiful and delicious. And it's not, if you don't get this right, who cares? Who cares? If anyone comes over and says, you know what, them garlic knots are not perfect, then you can say, you know what, then you're not eating any. More for me, less for you. You know what I mean? It's just the kind of thing that you really can't mess up. But I'm just going to continue to roll, and then, well, then I'll walk you through the next step. Now, when you have them formed and rolled out, you're going to go ahead and just cover them loosely with a lint-free kitchen towel and let them rest somewhere warm for about 45 minutes. They'll plump up a little bit and they'll be perfect. And when they're close to being ready, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 425. And then when they bake, we'll make our delicious like parm, butter, olive oil situation that is just like to die for. So I'm going to let these rest and then we'll proceed. Look at those babies. They've been resting 45 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put them in a 425 oven, about 15-20 minutes until they're really golden brown. And in the meantime, we will make that flavorful, delicious oil that's going to coat these so beautifully. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So I'm going to pop those in and then we proceed. All right, so now we're going to work on the garlic Parmesan oil that's going to coat these so beautifully, and all of the flavor is going to infuse and be phenomenal. So I've got a whole lot of garlic here. That is an actual amount, a whole lot of. I'm going to patent that. That just means you let your soul tell you when enough is enough. I feel the same way when I make margaritas. I just put a whole lot of tequila, and wherever it lands, it lands. So garlic, some parsley. Look at this beautiful hunk of parm, nice and fresh. Love it, love it, love it. Hot pepper flakes, you'll need olive oil and some salt. So the first thing I'm gonna work on is obviously chopping up all of the garlic and the parsley. So I'm gonna work on that now. It's boring. You've seen me chop things 1,000,001 times, but you wanna chop it really nice and fine because as it kind of sticks to the garlic knots, you want to be able to kind of eat the whole thing. You know what I mean? You don't want to have to shake off the garlic. But if I were to grate it, which you could, you would want to use a whole lot less because when you're grating garlic, it becomes so pungent and like spicy that if you used all of this, your garlic knots actually could be inedible because they would be that strong. I know, it's crazy, but you're gonna have to trust me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop this garlic and the parsley really fine, and then we grate some parm. All of my goods are in there. I'm gonna add a pinch of salt and then a pinch of hot pepper flakes, and then you're gonna add olive oil. I add, for that amount, I would say you probably need about 1/4 cup, which sounds like a lot, but really it's, you need it in order for that flavor to really absorb, and oh, it's just so incredible. Now the garlic knots just came out of the oven, and you want them to be hot when you stir them when you toss them with all of your flavoring. So look how beautiful, gorgeous, right? You want them to be nice and hot. And then I already ate 2, by the way. Like they came out, and I just was like, you know what? I've never really been able to resist a fresh roll or fresh bread of any kind coming right out of the oven. So girl gotta do what a girl has got to do. And now this is Papa Sal's tip, and it is just brilliant. I've been doing this my whole life, pretty much, when making garlic knots. You add all of your flavorings in here, right? Now it looks like there's not enough oil, but there is. It's just that there's a lot of parm in there. You take plastic wrap immediately. You take your plastic wrap, okay? You put it on there nice and tight. You don't want anything exposed. Both sides, okay? And now you just shake them around like that, and that's how you coat them. So down, shake around. Now here's a really important part. At this point, you're just gonna keep them in here like this for about 10 minutes. And what that does is all of the flavor kind of starts to really infuse into the bread because the bread's hot. And then the bread just kind of soaks up all of that garlic and parm and goodness. And then we're going to invert them into a bowl. Look at that. I mean, this is what happens when you let them sit for a while. Look, the garlic knots just become like soft, and oh my goodness. So good. I promise you, they're the best. Oh, that one went flying, which means cook's treat, which means that I will be absolutely catching that one. Delicious. So good. Grab yourself some pizza dough, whether it's homemade, store-bought, whatever. Make garlic knots. The best. The written recipes are in thekitchen.com. Hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Chef's kiss, all right.